Life was perfect until that smart TV exposed everything. After 15 years of marriage and a 17-year-old daughter, I thought I knew my wife completely. We shared interests in music, loved traveling, and kept ourselves fit because we wanted to grow old staying active together. The sex was great, we laughed at the same jokes, and most importantly, we trusted each other. I work as a firefighter, and my schedule changed about 8 months ago when I got moved to night shifts. My wife works in finance consulting, and she started working from home last year. She wasn't happy about it initially, saying it would affect her client relationships. Now I know that wasn't the real reason. Despite my night shifts, we made things work. When our schedules aligned, we spent quality time together. She'd leave me dinner before my shifts and text me during the day while I slept, sending me funny memes or just saying she missed me. Nothing seemed off. My friend Tom visited one day to help set up a new streaming device I want at work. We were having beers and connecting our phones to show each other videos when my wife came out of her home office. I asked if she wanted to connect her phone too. She hesitated but agreed after I insisted it was simple. While Tom was setting up her phone, she went to the bathroom, but not before asking multiple times if we were just downloading an app. Tom, being playful, opened her messages when her phone connected to the TV. He expected to find cute messages between us, but instead found a chat with someone saved as a heart emoji. The messages were explicit. Tom thought they were between my wife and me until we saw the name James pop up. There were inappropriate pictures and messages about things they did together. My stomach turned when I realized this wasn't just text flirting. They were meeting up while I was sleeping or working. I recorded the messages on my phone while my wife was still in the bathroom. Tom left quickly, understanding this wasn't something he should be part of. I composed myself and pretended nothing happened. That night, I needed to know more. I made up an excuse about the streaming device having issues and needing to reinstall the app on her phone. She was reluctant, mentioning something about confidential work information. Eventually, she gave me her phone, and I managed to find months of messages between them. It started last April. James works at one of her client firms. When she started working from home, their relationship turned physical. They met at our house while I slept during the day or worked nights. He even came over while I was asleep upstairs. The messages revealed everything. Their meetups, their plans, their jokes about me. My friend Tom reminded me about a couple we knew, Mark and Sarah, who run their own law firm. My wife used to work with them. I reached out to Mark for legal advice, careful not to let Sarah know since I wasn't sure about her relationship with my wife. Mark was incredibly helpful. He told me to document everything, gather financial records, and start separating our accounts. Since our daughter was almost 18, custody wouldn't be an issue. He advised me on how to handle the house situation and mentioned I might be entitled to support payments since my wife earns significantly more than me. What I didn't know then was that my wife's work-from-home situation wasn't a company policy. It was a punishment. She'd been caught sharing confidential information before, and working from home was their way of restricting her access to sensitive data. But she hadn't learned her lesson. She was still up to something much bigger than just an affair. Mark helped me prepare everything before confronting my wife. We got the divorce papers ready, and I made sure to document all our assets. The house was my main concern. We'd lived there for 8 years, and I didn't want to lose it. I served her the papers at home. She was shocked, but her shock quickly turned to anger. She claimed she needed the house as her office. I laughed and told her she could find another place to work, or whatever she was really doing when James visited while I slept upstairs. The color drained from her face. She tried threatening me, saying I had no idea what I was getting into. Her threats fell flat when she realized Mark was my lawyer. She knew exactly who he was and what he could do. I told her she needed to tell our daughter everything herself, or I would show our daughter the messages. She tried to manipulate the situation, but our daughter saw right through it. In fact, our daughter suggested that her mom should move out to give dad some space. I couldn't have been prouder of how she handled it. My wife moved out that weekend. That's when things got interesting. She started calling and texting, begging for forgiveness. Then she offered money. Both her and James would pay me to keep quiet because it would ruin their careers. I ignored her desperate attempts to fix things. Mark revealed something I hadn't known. While my wife worked at his firm, she had gotten involved with one of the partners and leaked sensitive information. They discovered it and ended her contract quietly. Her current firm found out and punished her by restricting her to working from home. Everything became clear. The story about her company going remote was a lie. Her complaints about not seeing clients were fake. She was basically on probation, but instead of learning from it, she started an affair with James and was apparently still mishandling confidential information. Our daughter visits more often now. She stays for dinners several times a week, and we've gotten closer than ever. She told me she had noticed her mom acting strange over the past year, but didn't know how to bring it up. She blamed herself for not telling me, but I assured her none of this was her fault. Mark kept digging and found more dirt. My wife hadn't just been sleeping with James. She'd been helping him with cases by sharing privileged information from other clients. Some clients had noticed their private information being used against them in court. They started asking questions, and now both my wife and James were under investigation. The legal community is small in our city. Word spread fast about what they'd done. Other law firms started checking their records, worried that my wife might have compromised their cases too. The State Bar Association got involved, launching a formal investigation into professional misconduct. My wife's desperate attempts to reconcile made sense now. She wasn't just trying to save our marriage. She was trying to keep me quiet about what I knew. But it was too late. The investigation was gaining momentum, and more people were coming forward with evidence of leaked information. We reached a settlement faster than expected. Instead of monthly payments, she offered a large sum upfront. I used it to buy out the remaining mortgage on the house. It's all mine now. She kept trying to get back together until the end. Her messages got so desperate that I had to route all communication through our lawyers. I wasn't interested in reconciliation. The trust was gone completely. The consequences of her actions hit hard. She lost her current consulting contract. The investigation revealed she'd been helping multiple lawyers by sharing confidential client information. She accessed details she shouldn't have known and passed them along to help other cases. The State Bar Association's investigation expanded. They found recordings, emails, and messages where she shared protected information without authorization. It wasn't just James she helped. There were others. Each new discovery made more law firms nervous about their own cases. My daughter took it hard at first, but handled it maturely. She said she always thought her mom was too invested in her work calls, often taking them in the garden or car where no one could hear. Now we knew why. Tom visits more often now. He still feels guilty about discovering the messages that day, but I tell him he did me a favor. If it wasn't for him playing around with her phone, I might still be in the dark. Mark and his wife Sarah reached out too. They apologized for not warning me when they fired my wife, but they were legally restricted from discussing it. Sarah admitted she distanced herself because she felt uncomfortable knowing what had happened, but being unable to tell me. The investigation is still ongoing. Other law firms are reviewing cases where my wife had access to their information. The legal community here is in upheaval. Nobody knows how many cases might have been compromised by leaked information. My life is different now, but better. The house feels more like home without the lies. My daughter stays over most weekends, and we're planning a father-daughter trip soon. I've even started dating again, taking it slow and being upfront about my past. Looking back, I realized there were signs. The excessive phone security, the strange work hours, the bathroom calls. But when you trust someone completely, you find ways to explain away the red flags. I got lucky in a way. That streaming device and Tom's playful nature exposed what could have gone on for years. Sometimes the worst betrayals come wrapped in the most ordinary moments, like trying to connect a phone to a TV on a regular afternoon. The legal community still whispers about the case. Some firms had to notify their clients about potential information breaches. My wife's reputation is ruined, and James is facing disciplinary action. Their careers are effectively over, but I'm done following their story. I've got my house, my daughter, and my peace of mind. Sometimes that's all you need to start over. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.